Hello and welcome to Jon and Louise on Life.
Today we are going to be looking at holidays and if we can actually get one this year.
We're also having a waffle with Matt from Waffle.
We have got an update on the work at Upcott.
And dogs, are they really a man's best friend?
See you in a minute.
Right, first off, holidays. We watched some TV the other night and they were talking about holidays and they showed this picture of, it must have been a beach in Greece, was it?
Yeah, it was
and they had all the umbrellas up and down the beach, people lying on sun lounges under the umbrellas, people in the sea, just crowded right in. And they were saying that people are yearning to go back to the sun. Now, I agree, actually, I'd love to get back and see some sunshine and get some sunshine. But do we really want to be sort of packed in like sardines on those beaches?
I think for some people they love it. Me, it's my personal hell. I hate that sort of thing. I'm not into package holidays anyway. We haven't really done a lot of that, have we?
Not for 30
well,
years.
Because you get kids,
Yes.
the cost of taking everybody abroad is really, really high. So we've never really done that. We've done bucket and spade holidays in Cornwall, which we've always loved. We've been to other places, of Wales, and a couple of years ago we went to Scotland. We have travelled a lot abroad, but that was mainly on our own. We haven't really taken the kids to anywhere other than France or, somewhere easy. I can't imagine being on a beach like that ever again. Just
because of COVID, you mean?
Yeah.
Just because it's so close to people because we're not used to it.
No.
I was also thinking Butlins.
I know.
You
We've
know.
done a few spring harvests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being in Butlins or any holiday camp or a holiday centre like that where people are just on top of each other all the time?
Queuing up in the cafeteria to get your food, swimming pool. I think holidays are going to look different for everybody because I think everybody's going to be super cautious. Well,
Yeah.
most people are going to be super cautious. You're always going to get the sort of the ones that are, there for drinking and partying and that
The
kind
lads
of
are
stuff.
out, yeah.
The
All
lads
the
are out.
girls,
The girls,
the girls as well.
The girls in their heels. But I don't know if for us that is something that we really want to do. I think that one of the biggest things that's going to be for holidays is holiday lets and renting properties where you're actually on your own and you're still self-isolating more or less.
Well, we can do that in a few weeks.
Yeah,
I think April
and I
the
think
12th
that
is
I
when we can
think
do that.
getting
Yeah.
any kind of property
Yeah.
is going to be it's going to be really tough. But it's what everybody wants is a break from all of this. Although if you're self-isolating in a cottage somewhere, is it much of a break? I don't know.
Oh no, absolutely. Just have a different scenery. Just get out of your
Yeah.
house.
What about cruise ships? I mean, you stay on board with 1,000 people
Yeah.
breathing the air. I mean, I don't know anybody that has gone on a cruise that hasn't had a dodgy tummy.
Well,
at the
yeah.
best of times.
I was speaking to
So-
Philip about that yesterday.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, because he's of course he's gone all over the world on cruises completely free of charge
Yeah.
by giving lectures about marine
Lectures on
biology.
marine. Yeah,
on-
Philip's
on-
a friend of ours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's gone.
He can't
misses
do
it.
that
No.
anymore. Would he though?
I
Do you
think he
think he
would.
would?
I think he would.
He wouldn't mind.
No.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because there was a news item out, I think it was yesterday or the day before, about P&O ferries demanding vaccination passports, which is what we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I guess over the next few weeks, as people start thinking about coming out of this, then that is going to become more of an issue again.
I think as well, it won't just be the P&Os of this world and the airlines.
Yeah.
It will be the countries themselves probably asking for vaccine proof before travelling.
Yeah, yeah.
And probably negative COVID tests as well.
There was a story yesterday that a little boy who was 4 years old got kicked off an airplane for not wearing a face
Yeah,
mask.
where was that?
Well, he's an autistic child who struggles to wear a face mask anyway. I didn't know that children have to wear face masks on
Well, I
airplanes.
didn't think they did.
Apparently it's a thing. But anyway, I think there's going to be a lot more of this in the news because everybody feels like they missed out last year on everything.
Yeah.
So I think holidays, it's going to be a big deal. But renting property and staycations, I think is going to be a big part of British life this year.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are you doing on holiday? Have you got anything planned? Have you booked anything? Are you worried that it might get cancelled last minute or you won't be able to go? Let us know what you're doing. We would love to know where you're going.
And talking of holidays, actually,
yeah,
we're taking a holiday, aren't we?
Good point. Yes.
We've got about 3 more Jon and Louise on Life left until Easter, and then after Easter we're going to give it a break because we've got other video projects.
Yeah, we've got a lot of other things
planned.
We haven't got time.
Number
for.
2, with the lighter days and the warmer days, everyone's going to get out and they're going to be away on holiday and they're not going to want to watch us anyway. We're going to come back later on in the year with a whole new Jon and Louise on Lives, but keep watching us in the meantime because we've got some really good interviews to go out with. So
we're going to be working on other projects. So please subscribe to this channel because then when we put other stuff on as well, you'll see that too.
Anyway, time for a waffle with Waffle. Wonderful. Well, this afternoon we are joined by Matt Smith from Waffle in Axminster. So Matt, I thank you that you can take the time to be with us this afternoon. And we look forward to sort of hearing a bit more about Waffle and exactly what it is and what you're doing there. So straight in, what is Waffle in Axminster?
It's effectively one big pun, which is quite appropriate, really, because when I felt kind of called into leadership and into Waffle itself, God spoke to me from the book of Jeremiah, and I'd never realized that there's a pun in there where God literally puns on the word almond tree to tell Jeremiah that he's going to always be with him. He's going to make sure his word's fulfilled. And I love that. I love that there are puns and jokes in the Bible. You don't get it because obviously we don't read the Hebrew, but God just loves language, loves it. And he's kind of given me a little spark of that. I think I love language. I studied languages at university. I love the way that words, the power that words have, which I believe is a really strong sign that this whole world was created with words. They are so powerful. And so ultimately we started Waffle with a vision to harness the kind of power of words and see what we could do in a community when we were intentional about the conversations that we were having. So we recognized that already there's these great community spaces called Starbucks or Costa or wherever your local one is, and cafes, and they exist, these what sociologists call third spaces where people can come and chat. But what's often lacking is the intentionality behind them. So rather than community driving them, often commerce is driving them. And we thought, well, what if we could take one of these spaces and really inject it with community, with a desire to actually form community. So it's a very simple vision. It's really not rocket science. We try and apply our Christian faith in directly into the way that we try and show people value every single person through the way that we listen to them. So we try and train up we train up all our staff and volunteers to be good listeners, great listeners. I think it's some skills that are lacking often with all of us. And so, we take this kind of community space and try and see what we can do to make sure that people feel ultimately listened to, I think.
Fantastic. So in the same way that God spoke to Jeremiah about the almond tree and meant his presence with Jeremiah, you're looking at taking the word waffle, which means just to rabbit on about anything or talk on about anything, and just chat to people. But also there's the practical, there's the tangible waffle, which is a food. And so waffle is not just a lot of talk. It is very, very delicious waffles and ice cream that you've been serving up for a few months. So tell us how it started, just in the shop on the corner in Axminster.
Yes, and I do. I often, Sophie would kill me, I often forget to actually mention the edible waffles. But yes, that's obviously very much half of what we do. And the business itself kind of started when me, Sophie, and Tim kind of realised that we, in some crazy way, we had we felt this dream together to create a place where these waffles could be sold. Sophie's got great stories about how with her, some of her family that come from Belgium, how Waffles used to bring her family together. They used to even carry on cooking waffles even when they were under German occupation, and they actually helped out during the war. They helped with some, I think, some of the resistance efforts as well. So some fantastic stories around waffles, and the word itself means to weave together, which is another great. I mean, the deeper you go into it, the better it gets. But so we now do savoury waffles and sweet waffles. A lot of people don't realise that there's different types of waffles. So most of them are named after places in Belgium. The main two are Brussels waffles and Liège waffles, two towns in Belgium, cities probably. Cities.
Yeah.
And Brussels are naturally unsweetened, and they're the ones that are often a lot of people think of because they start life as a pancake batter, basically, with sparkling water is the key differentiating factor there. And then Liège waffles are a naturally sweet waffle, and they start life as pretty much a brioche dough. And all of that we make up fresh in the morning every day. So we're kind of half bakery, half cafe. It means early starts to get 200 waffles made up in the morning. But yeah, and then we look to kind of put different things on top of them.
Fantastic. I'm actually just getting a little bit hungry just thinking about we have been to the Waffle House there when it was in its old place on the corner opposite the church there, but you've moved recently. And tell us about your new place and the space that you've got there and what you're planning to do with it.
Yeah, we've got about 5 times as much space, which is slightly daunting. We were running out of room in the last place, so it was very much the right time to move on. And God was amazing in kind of making that happen. I don't know how we've ended up at Trinity House, to be honest with you, other than the fact that God's worked some miracles to get us here. One of the biggest miracles is that Ian Stiles, who's the landlord here, is just kind of a really lovely community-minded guy and really bought into the Waffle vision. So we've got this amazing space. We've kind of split it into 3 areas, and we've kind of split up the company a little bit as well, or at least kind of diversified rather than split up. But we've got Waffle Play and Waffle Work as 2 new elements coming alongside Waffle House. So Waffle House is the majority of the space, which is very much will look like the Waffle House of old, with a few little tweaks. And then we've got Waffle Work, which is a collaborative workspace, which really they have, even before COVID, they were exploding in terms of popularity, especially in cities, because people are running out of space to work, and they also still want that social element when they come together and work. And I think that's just going to be exacerbated by us all kind of being forced to work from home. So yeah, there's that Waffle Work element, and in there we have Lawson Computer Repair as well. So Luke Lawson, a good friend of ours, has set up shop there, so he can not only run his business from there, but also offer some IT support for people using that space. And we've got the first ultra fast broadband in Axminster come to the building. My brother Si has kind of somehow managed to, I don't know, he's tickled the right ears, and we've got 300 megabits per second speed internet. So we've got more internet than we know what to do with at the moment, which is great. And then we're going to have the Waffle Play area, which will be hopefully a soft play area coming in probably in the next couple of months. Which is just again another way to bring people together.
You mentioned COVID just now. Obviously, you've had to shut down your indoor operations during COVID. So what are you doing at the moment?
So at the moment, we're doing, from a business point of view, we're doing takeaway Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. From the 1st of April, we'll be doing that 9 till 9 in the morning till 9 at night, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. At the moment, it's slightly more reduced hours, and then hopefully in May, I forget the date, May the 14th, something like that, isn't it?
The 17th.
7th. Yeah. Mid-May. We'll be open properly, and we'll then be open Tuesday to Saturday again, 9 till 9, as we were briefly before we went into this lockdown.
Wonderful. Now, you're a community interest company. So that means your focus is on the community. So what sort of community projects have you got going alongside the Waffle, the workspace, the play area? What sort of things do you do to engage with the community?
Yeah, I mean, lots of things going on, and a lot of them are just little things. So one of the best things that we did in the last place was just introduce board games, again, in quite an intentional way. So having lots of board games on offer, and having someone on hand to kind of explain those board games, just to bring families together and doing something other than being on their mobile phones. We've got a pay it forward system in Waffle so that people can buy a wooden community card and pay it forward to someone less fortunate themselves. And we work with the food bank in the school as well, to hand those out, so that we don't ever want money to be about a barrier for people to come and access a community space. So and then we've run various kind of outreach projects from Waffle, as a hub. So we do some community gardening, which is great fun, and we get out and we just help people maintain their gardens. Often widows who just can't quite keep on top of it anymore. We do a sitting service, so we sit with those, particularly those that are carers, just to we sit with the person that's being cared for, so that the carer can go and get a bit of relief. And then we do various other little things. We've got a Waffle Vision YouTube channel, which everyone should subscribe to, where we run a Thursday quiz from there, and we do some interviews and things. Our main goal with all of this is basically just trying to orchestrate opportunities for people to form unlikely friendships in their community. So it means that we can have a lot of fun with coming up with new project ideas.
Wow, fantastic. We will put, by the way, the links in the bio below. So if anybody wants to log on to the Waffle House YouTube page, then we'll put the link below. But this idea has caught the interest of others around. So tell me about how this idea of Waffle is spreading, or has the potential to spread around to other places.
Yeah, I think there is. Yeah, in fact, we're having a couple of conversations today with, I think, people that so half it's kind of, I think, Christians that really want to engage with their communities, recognize that there is a kind of there's things that have been lost in translation between the church and being able to just communicate with its community. And so there's a lot of people that are kind of interested in the way that we set up as Christians, but set up a social enterprise with a Christian heart, with the aim to kind of start up some of those conversations and see where they go effectively. So I would love it if loads of different places around would have something similar, because I think they're a great way. If you add some intentionality behind a very natural and normal business model, I think there's some great opportunities to actually just create friendships, which I think a lot of the time are just lacking. So yeah, we've had some conversations about doing waffles in different places, but I think ultimately, in terms of kind of replication, our real hearts are around just trying to inspire and motivate people to talk more, to have better conversations, and more of them with unlikely people. And we recognize that that's effectively, friendships do save lives. Friendships are incredibly important, and churches are founded on friendships, but every friendship starts with a slightly awkward conversation, and there's no getting around that if they just do. And at the moment, there's even more reasons not to have those slightly awkward conversations, but we passionately believe at Waffle that those slightly awkward conversations need to be happening. And you can actually, social skills, just like any other skills, can be learned. And so we, on our YouTube channel and stuff, we do little bits around just training people up just very gently in with some social skills, because the more conversations that can be had, particularly with Christians and the rest of the community, I think that the more hope there is that communities can be stronger and come together.
And are you seeing that in Axminster? Because you are a bunch of Christians that are doing this. You've mentioned Sophie. Sophie is the lady that we interviewed a few weeks ago, and she talked about her work in Africa, and people were blown away by that. So this is a young lady with obviously plenty of vision and passion for the gospel. and to sort of just be used by God in whatever area. But obviously you've got a whole team doing that. So what sort of impact are you having on the community? Are you making a difference?
Great question. I hope so. It's one that we, I mean, as soon as you're in the social enterprise world, you're asked to measure impact all over the place. And it's hard. It's really hard, because how do you tell that someone's less lonely? How do you tell that someone's actually feeling more connected to their community? They're really difficult metrics to gauge. So yeah, we can measure kind of people that we reach. We know that we've hosted kind of over 50 community groups in here, and we've handed out, I think now a couple of thousand of free. Well, I say we, it's the community that have paid for a couple of thousand free waffles and drinks, which is amazing. But actually being able to kind of measure the change in temperature in a community is really difficult. I think what we knew from the outset that it's a really tricky thing to get involved in. None of this it's very messy. Relationships are messy. Loneliness is a messy thing. You can't, that whenever you're dealing with people, there's no quick fix. And so we're kind of committed to coming alongside people, knowing that actually we may not see the fruit of that directly. We've got some wonderful, wonderful stories, and we try and write down as many as we can. But we also want to be kind of careful not to leverage people's stories for kind of proving our existence. So it is an interesting world when we're talking about impact, but it's some of the, I mean, one story that we tell often, because we ask the person's permission and we love it, is a guy that drives a Maserati, and he seems to have everything sorted. I mean, it's in a sense, it's a cliched story, but he came into Waffle for a milkshake, and after that he used to come in quite regularly, and we got to talking to him progressively just a little bit more deeply. And turns out that we ended up giving him a free milkshake one day, and this guy broke down because he was an investment banker and he'd never been given anything for free, because he was the guy that was meant to have it all sorted. And just through a moment of kindness and having the time to listen and talk, we were able to kind of delve a little bit into his story and listen to him. And it's those kind of little stories that I think probably for us, me, Sophie and Tim, we kind of really remind us that there's fruit to what we're doing. So we really hope that there is. But in many senses, I often tell Sophie that I'm envious of Awaken Love, because and her work there, because it's very easy to see there that there's a very obvious need, and there's you can meet that in very obvious ways. Whereas when you're dealing with mental health issues or loneliness and things like that, it's often quite difficult to see. But hopefully we are.
Wonderful, Matt. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Louise and I actually have a couple of vouchers that we were given a little while ago. So we will be seeing you very soon for some takeaway waffles and coffee. And I'm really looking forward to that. But thank you for your time this afternoon. We'll put more details of Waffle, so anybody in the Axminster, East Devon, West Dorset, South Somerset area can come along to Waffle and get a takeaway waffle, or perhaps later in the spring, sit in and eat. But please come along and support this fantastic project in Axminster. So Matt, thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Matt. That was really interesting to find out exactly what Waffle is really all about. So that was really good.
And did you notice there we nearly forgot to mention the actual waffles themselves, which are, to me, are a key feature of the Waffle House. They are amazing.
They are pretty good. I like the savoury ones because now they've moved to different premises. They can do different waffles because I like bacon and maple syrup.
Ice cream all the way for me.
Okay. Well, I'll have both actually. Anyway, thanks, Matt. That was really, really good. So now we are going on to a short video with Andrew Palmer, who heads up Upcott, which is a ministry that used to be in Seaton, actually.
Started by your auntie.
It was, yeah. So here is Andrew to explain what has happened with the ministry since they've left Minehead.
Right, this afternoon we are joined by Andrew Palmer. Now, some of you may remember Andrew from Upcott, which was a Christian conference centre in Seaton that moved to Minehead. But you might have lost touch with it moving to Minehead, and you might have lost touch with it. And so it's great this afternoon to have Andrew with us, just to find out exactly what's gone on with Upcott and what they're planning for the future. So Andrew, thank you for joining us this afternoon. And a little spoiler here, Upcott has been sold in Minehead. And so you've got other plans for the future. So what are you planning with Kids Weeks and that sort of thing?
So looking back very quickly, the decision to sell was made 2018, so a long while before COVID, and it came out of just a feeling that the Lord was moving things forward in a different way. So we started that process, and then obviously last year we were in the middle of selling the building when COVID came along, and we ended up shifting most of what we're doing online. So last summer was a bit of an experiment, really. We were already using Zoom before COVID came along, but we ran our weeks online during the summer, and it proved to be really successful. Lots of young people were talking about the fact that all of a sudden it was encountering the Holy Spirit in their own bedroom or in their own home, rather than coming away to have an encounter, then going back and trying to work out how it worked out in real life. So that was really positive. That sort of developed, I suppose, over the last sort of 6 or 12 months, where obviously people have had things like Zoom fatigue and all this kind of stuff. And so we're doing a lot more one-to-one type stuff now, which is, again, really exciting. And then looking forward to coming out of lockdown, we're hoping to run a couple of weeks this year that are in person.
In person?
Yeah. So providing things lift as they're supposed to be, then hopefully we'll do 2 weeks in person. So that's the plan for the actual summer. That'll be in Wales, obviously in a different location. And then looking forward, I think we're looking for sort of some kind of synergy between sort of physical meetups and online. And we're just exploring options really around how you can do youth work where you're doing maybe 6 or 8 sessions on a Zoom and then meeting up for a weekend in person to just sort of flesh it out and pray for people and spend more time in just doing the things that you can't really do online. So very brief.
Good, wonderful, thank you. I was speaking to somebody this morning actually about youth work over Zoom, and they were struggling. They've been brought into a discussion with a bunch of youngsters, and they said it's so difficult to do youth work over Zoom. So how did it work? Did you do something different with your youth work, or how comes it works?
I think obviously we're in a slightly different position. So I don't know if that was like a local youth worker, but for us, we're working with the willing, which tends to help. But also just a really clear understanding that the Lord's not restricted. The Holy Spirit's not restricted by geography and by media. And so the expectation always was that our young people would meet with the Lord and have an encounter, and there wouldn't be anything particularly different to whether they were in their own home or they were in a building with us. And I think having that expectation changes things.
So looking to the sort of the mid and long term, what are you're still looking to work with young people? You're still looking to disciple young people? What are the plans that you've got with Upcott in the long term?
Yeah, that's what my trustees would like to know as well. I feel like the long term is definitely looking much more like overt discipleship. I feel like there's probably as you're thinking about as well, what's the Lord doing at the moment? And it feels to me like there is I wouldn't say it's a new move of the Holy Spirit, but there seems to be a call back to basics and to walking with Jesus costing something. And a lot of the young people I'm talking to are saying the same things. They're reading stuff like Dietrich Bonhoeffer and Watchman Nee and C.T. Studd, all that era of literature, and they're up for the challenge of that. And so looking forwards, I feel like there'll be a real need to mentor and to model in the area of discipleship. And I think that Upcott's got a place to play in helping churches with their young people in that area.
Fantastic. Andrew, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. It's been really good to catch up. The details that you've given us will be on the in the blurb below. So if anybody wants to catch up with what Upcott is doing, speak to Andrew, that you can do so through those contact details. Anyway, thank you so much for this afternoon, and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
No trouble. Thanks, John.
Right, the last bit we're doing is something I saw on Facebook called 10 benefits of having a dog. And there is our dog.
He's fast asleep.
You might have noticed the camera shake earlier. That was due to the dog. You might have heard some scratching sounds and other things. That was also the dog. So 10 benefits from having a dog.
Okay.
Number 1, alarm clock, apparently.
No, he's lazy and he doesn't get out of his bed.
Number 2, a bed warmer.
No, we don't let him on our bed or near our bed.
The only time he's ever been on our bed was when he stole a pound of Thorntons from off the bed.
I know, that was disgusting. I'm surprised he didn't die. Anyway.
Number 3, house security system. Agreed with that one.
Yeah, he barks all the time and he drives us nuts.
Yeah, he's very good though for that. Best friend of life. Well, I think you're my best friend,
He has his
darling.
moments. Okay, yeah, you're my best friend. There we are.
Doorbell. He's definitely a doorbell.
Yes, he is. Post, and
Yeah.
he goes and grabs it from the letterbox. Sometimes it doesn't stay chewed. So don't worry if you're putting your collection through our door. He doesn't really eat envelopes
Yeah.
or money.
Family. He's very much a member of the family.
Oh, do you miss your
He
family,
is
Bill?
the 7th member of our family.
He is. He's
Yeah.
one of the guys.
And he's too human, that's the trouble.
Yeah. Are you human? No.
Cuddle buddy. He does
Yes.
like a cuddle.
Yeah, and that's when he gets up on the sofa and he looks really cute.
Unconditional love. No matter what he's done, he still loves us.
Yeah, I'm not sure we feel the same about him though.
Happiness.
Yes, he definitely brings happiness. We love
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. Loyalty guaranteed. Yeah.
Oh, Bill, we're talking about you and you
Yeah.
don't care at all, do
No.
you? No.
Anyway, 10 benefits from having a dog.
Do we recommend people get a dog?
Ooh.
This is our last dog, but in
This
fairness,
is our last dog.
we
but
said
we've
that
loved,
last time
We've
as well.
loved having dogs.
We have.
But no more, Bill. We need a bit of freedom now. Well, that segment was for you fans of Billy out there. We know there's lots of you.
Yes.
Anyway, that's enough from us today, isn't it?
It is, and from our poor bold Billy.
Yeah. So have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.